Miami holds off Notre Dame's comeback attempt, and they get their biggest win in years. Mario Cristobal's squad came out to their home stadium, Hard Rock, and they put on an absolute instant classic, a show in week one. They sent a message to the college football nation that they are for real. And we got to start with the last two plays. Rueben Bain and Akeem Massador, they said, we're two of the best defensive line players, two of the best edge players in the country, and we are going to be one of the best defenses in the country. And hold on, we need to. We're going to flip it over to Mario Cristobal, because this has been a guy that has been doubted. He has been asked, when is it going to happen? When are you going to kind of come up with a big win? When are you going to show that Miami is back, that they're for real? Miami is back. You win this game, you beat a top 10 opponent, you beat Notre Dame, a team coming off of a national championship appearance that is known for their physicality. I mean, you saw them battle. Down 21-7, down 24-14. It just felt like Miami had seized control, that they dictated that game on their terms. But Notre Dame's culture, their brand of not quitting, refusing to go away in the national championship against the Buckeyes, refusing to go away against Miami when it seemed like this game was all but over. CJ Carr shows that he can be a terrific quarterback. I mean, we're talking about a kid that went 19 of 30, 221 yards, 2 touchdowns, and a rushing touchdown to go along with that win in his first career collegiate start on the road at Miami. That environment and what is now what we know to be a very good defense. Let's talk about Carson Beck, because I don't know if there's a lot of people in the sport of college football that have had a more tough time going about their life and having to deal with the social media hate, having to deal with the memes and all the negativity, being run out of town by Georgia, their fans seemingly pitting him as the enemy, as the guy for the reason for all their problems last year on what was truly a flawed Georgia team. Remember, they won the SEC title game. He got hurt on the last play before halftime, and they just don't want him back. He finds a home in Miami. He does exactly what Cam Ward did, transferring from Washington State to Miami, and my goodness, does it look like this might be the right move. Where can I buy some Carson Beck stock? Because I would like to buy some immediately. Where can I buy some Miami Hurricane stock? Because this team just came up with a marquee matchup win, a top 10 victory against what is a Notre Dame team. I mean, you can tell. Although Jeremiyah Love, and we'll talk about the run game because that's a part of it, because Jeremiyah Love is probably the best running back in college football. He had 33 yards, 10 carries for 33 yards for Jeremiyah Love. Jadarian Price is arguably the best number 2. He would be the starting running back for every team in college football except for maybe 8 or 9. He is a phenomenal player. 6 carries for 45 yards. Obviously a lot more productive, but that just goes to show you how good that Miami's front is, how good that front 7 played in this game. And it's not just a typical team. This is a Notre Dame team returning a ton of starters that was just dying. They were chomping at the bit to just go out there and play a football game and hit some people. That is their brand. That is Notre Dame's brand. They will out-hit you, out-physical you, and that is what they did to the Georgia Bulldogs in that quarterfinal matchup. What does Miami do? They hand the ball off to Mark Fletcher for 15 times. They hand the ball off to Shamar Brown 15 times. Those two guys combined for about 120 yards in this game. Average yards per carry wasn't great between them, but Brown fought his way in there for that touchdown. We saw at times Carson Beck's escapability, but what I was more impressed by, and my number one takeaway from Carson Beck, is this dude looks like he's having fun again. He looks like he is confident in the pocket, that he thinks he has a great offensive line, and he truly does. I mean, Francis Mauigoa, like, this kid is going to be a first-round pick as a tackle, and the kid on the other side, phenomenal player. They are such a good team up front on that offensive line. The running game we knew was going to be good. They were very good last year, but where did this guy come from? People have known about him. Malachi Toney, 6 catches, 82 yards, the 17-year-old true freshman with the touchdown, and not just him, It looked like Carson Beck was throwing an interception before the end of the first half. C.J. Daniels pulls it in, one-handed grab snag. Holy cow, what a play. I mean, that has to be the play of this football game. If that's not, I don't know what will be. That has to be the play of the entire weekend, because that gave Miami just a surge of momentum before the end of the half. Obviously, the lead 14-7. They come back with a very strong drive, get up 21-7, and just absolutely took command of this football game. And so we'll continue with Carson Beck, because he was accurate tonight. He took a whole bunch of shots. I mean, he was going down the field trying to find Josiah Trader, who didn't really have he actually didn't have a catch in this game, but he was targeting him. Obviously, Malachi Toney, I think he had 11 targets. C.J. Daniels, they were really spreading the football around, and Beck just looked like he was not just competent, but a star. Not a star in the making, because he was supposed to be the guy that was going to go out there and be in New York, compete for the Heisman Trophy. I think he can do that this season. 20 of 30. Obviously, that's like 2 for 3. When it rounds up to a 67% completion percentage, over 200 yards, 2 touchdowns on the day. Crucial statistic, though, no turnovers, no interceptions in this game. That was the key part of last year of why he struggled, is he turned the football over. Most interceptions in the Southeast Conference a year ago. On the other side of things, CJ Carr, though, we got to give this kid his flowers, because your first start on the road at Hard Rock, to go out there, lead your team back, and I understand that last possession, that was very tough, not being able to do it. That pass rush just hit another gear. They just rounded into form, and they just were brutal to be able to try and block. It was amazing to see them just get in there. But 220 yards, 2 touchdowns. He did have the interception. That was a crazy play. But Rueben Bain, we talked about his pass rushing prowess, his run stopping prowess, and then he has the interception, and he looked pretty dang athletic for a big man, catching that ball, turning the corner, and getting a very nice return on it. Unfortunately for Miami, they were only able to pick up 3 points on that drive. I mean, earlier in the game, off the turnover on the fumble, you get the botch snap on the field goal, so no points on that. So only 3 points off of takeaways, where they were set up inside the 30 on both of those takeaways, where they're having that incredible starting field position. Let's go to Marcus Freeman, because I think it's super understated about how you can come in to a program, bring in your culture, establish a new identity, and that team seemingly just is able to adapt it so quickly and so well. Because this looked like the same type of team they were exactly a year ago, undergoing some adversity very early in the season, having to deal with a tough loss like this. I know that Northern Illinois is nowhere near the quality opponent that Miami is, but nonetheless, a tough loss. And their makeup of the way they battled back in that game, having to deal with the rain, obviously both teams had to, but down, and they fight back. Your young quarterback does that. This kid has another year, maybe another 2 years there with Notre Dame to be an absolute shining star, because I didn't think he had those types of wheels, that mobility on that play where he's running to the left, back to the right, back to the left, throws that touchdown, and comes up with the game-tying rushing touchdown late in the fourth quarter. Holy cow, CJ Carr. We talked all about that, the run game from the quarterback. This offense is going to look a lot different. Certainly it's going to look a lot different. There's going to be more efficiency throwing the football to Malachi Fields. Jordan Faison, who looked unbelievable in the first quarter, didn't really get him the ball back. Jaden Greathouse didn't even have a catch in this game. He was so good down the stretch. It was weird just not seeing him at all be a factor. But CJ Carr, this is a downfield, a very good passing attack, and obviously it's either Notre Dame or Penn State that have the best backfield in America. No shade to Miami. It's just, Jeremiyah Love is touted as maybe a top 10, top 15 pick at the running back position. Jadarian Price, incredible player. So you have that run game, that O-line, that passing game moving forward here. The quarterback that absolutely is not going to have environments like that he's necessarily going to be playing in all that often. But I'm just going to say each of those positives I just talked about, those go to the the tally column as well to Miami, because they just beat that team that showed all those traits, all of those characteristics. You held Jeremiyah Love to 33 yards. All of these questions, besides that really long blown coverage touchdown, not touchdown, but guy goes down to the 10-yard line that sets up the tying touchdown. Besides that, besides a couple of nice runs from Jadarian Price, where he had a 30-yarder down the sideline, only 5 carries for 15 the rest of the night. He had a fumble that CJ Carr was able to jump back on top of. You held that run game to under 100 yards. The 3.3 a carry, I mean, well done. Really well done for a unit that was criticized so heavily, that absolutely costed Miami a shot at the college football playoff last year. They come together, bring in a couple of new faces in different parts of this team, and they show college football that this team can absolutely be a force. And what better news do you get than Clemson being said, here's the team that's going to win the Natty. They're going to take care of biz against LSU. They lose. The Garrett Nussmeier. Harold Perkins is back for the LSU Tigers, makes a play on Cade Klubnik, and the Clemson Tigers lose, and they're 0-1. Miami's obviously got a matchup against Florida later in the season, but that's just going to be absolute popcorn. We are fired up for that. Miami Hurricanes 27-24 pull off a massive win. Just a tremendous all-around performance, but we just got to say, this is what we wanted, what we asked for, a tight football game. Miami pulls off the upset, that we get college football back, and the weekend ends what was an incredible, the best opening weekend arguably of college football, the biggest certainly, with 3 top 10 matchups. Alabama falls to Florida State. 4 top 10 teams fall. I believe that's like the most ever since 1981 is what they said on the broadcast with that happening. So mayhem already on the season. Miami's back. Notre Dame's going to hang in there. They got a big one against A&M off the bye in a couple of weeks. Obviously, both these teams look like they could be competing for playoff spots, but in that ACC, Miami, it looks like there's Clemson, maybe Georgia Tech, but Florida State, that thing just looks a lot deeper than it did last year. So I appreciate you so much. Thank you for staying to the end of this video. What a game. What storylines from both sides. Understanding that these are 2 blue bloods in the sport going toe-to-toe, and we get to see one of the teams that ran the earlier part of the 21st century are back, and they seemingly are for real. So I appreciate you. Thank you for watching, and I will see you next time. Best player in college football. That Georgia and Ohio State game, New Year's Eve, is going to be a classic.
Josh Blunder, hi everybody, I'm Josh Blunder. To the 40, 35, 30, Espinosa to the 20.